Hello again. In this video, we'll enhance our WakeUp Times app. We'll add images, we change the structure of the app a little, we'll add some navigation button, and we'll work a bit more with CSS and JavaScript to make some improvements, both in terms of the look and feel of the application and the functionality of the app. So the starter code that you received with this application, it includes two images. There's an image of a moon, and there's another image, it's named favicon. And this is also a sort of an image of a moon and the stars, but it's a icon size image. And so in this video and next video, we're going to work with these images along with a bunch of other things that we will do. So first thing is to use this favicon. So let me show you how this can be used. One of the things that you can add to the head section of your HTML file is another kind of a link. Alright, so one link is to the style sheet. Here is another one. This is an icon. We say what type of icon and where is the address of it. And so if I save this and refresh the page, now it's hard to see it on my screen perhaps, but if you try to see it, like this is the icon that appears right next to the title of the page in your browser. If you go to different applications, you may have noticed that different apps have different icons for the web page when you go and see them. So that's a little touch that makes things more polished and professional looking. All right, now let's go and try to do a bunch of other interesting things. So right now our application uses system fonts. What we can do is we can add specific fonts to our application. And so we can, there are a bunch of different websites that provide you with fonts. Some of them are free. Sometimes you need to buy a font to be able to use it. I'm going to use Google fonts, which are free. And so I'm going to add these links here to the HTML. So look, these are a bunch of other links and they're basically trying to get connected to Google API, access the fonts, and then there is this particular font that I'm trying to access and download. Now I'm sort of not getting too deep into the explanation of what these things exactly are. There's a bit more detailed in the lecture notes. As I said, the course is mostly focused on JavaScript, so we're not going to go into details on things like making the app look good. I put some pointers here and there for you, and the general idea is that if that is something that interests you, you will go and explore it more. But following this, we got to go to our index CSS and make an update. So here I'm going to say that I've now the app should have access to this font, and I'm going to use the name of this font here. And let's save it and let's refresh it. And so you see that this is a different font now we are using here. By the way, I have been using a 240% zoom. Let's zoom out. This is the app when it's zoomed out. So this is actually what it probably is, what it looks like on your screen. And we'll polish this more and make it look even better moving forward. All right, so let us go back to our index.html. Now what I want to do is we've got very little content on the page right now. I want to add a bit more content and also some more elements and break the structure of the HTML further. So I have prepared this ahead of the time. I'm going to copy it here for the sake of the time rather than typing out all of this stuff, and then we'll have a brief conversation about it. So I'm basically replacing the body. So save it. Let's see what we have here. So inside the body, we've got everything wrapped in a div with the ID of app. And this is useful because it's going to help us to then get hold of this division and apply some styling to it if we want. Then inside of it, I have a section followed by a div followed by another section. And so the first section is where we basically have like the initial description of what the app is and what it does. Then I have this container that it allows me to add an image in it. So this is where we're going to go and get the moon image. Notice that I have an image tag. It points to the image file that we have. And then I have this other section, and this is where the result is supposed to be displayed. There's a class hidden on it. We're going to work with this, and the idea is that we're going to keep this hidden in the beginning, and once we like click on the calculate, we're going to reveal it and show it to the user. And so each one of these sections, these are semantic HTML elements that allow you to sort of group a bunch of other elements together and give them a class or an ID, so then you can get hold of them in your HTML or CSS files. So this section has a bunch of things, like this is mostly what I had before: a header, a few paragraphs, and a button. And then the output, the result, basically it has some text to guide the user to understand what is it that they're seeing. There is this placeholder, wake up hours div, which the actual wake up hours are going to be printed or displayed in. And notice I added 2 more buttons here. I'm going to style these buttons a little later because I want to create the effect of sort of going from one page or one view to another. So let's save this and then refresh the page. And currently what you're going to see is there's sort of this section 1, and there's this massive moon. And then this at the very bottom, there's the second section of the application, which has like the refresh, the back button. And if I go that, these are the wake up times supposedly. So a bit of an information, like, it says, hey, it takes about 40 minutes to fall asleep. Try to wake up at one of these times. This moon obviously is not well positioned and styled, and we're going to fix this moving forward. But let's do this sort of a step by step. The first thing I want to focus on right now is to work with this class hidden. So I'm going to go to my index.html, and let's add this dot hidden because it's a class, and then we say display none. So you save this, and you see this, there's nothing in there, right? Like if I take this out, save it, and refresh it, there's a bunch of stuff here, right? Take it back in, refresh it, and that stuff is gone, right? Well, before we continue, let me do something about this image because it's way too big and it bothers me. So let's just say whatever image we have. And that's not the best practice because we may have more than one image. So maybe better thing is to give it an ID, but I know I just have one image on the page and I want to quickly fix it. So let's give it a max width of maybe 80%. And let's give it a height of auto so it rescales it. All right, now it looks a little, well, at least it's within the screen, and we'll clean this up. By the end, it's gonna look good. After we polish the app, it's gonna look good, I promise. Okay, so let's go and focus on the area that I applied the hidden tag to it. Right now, when I click on this calculate, even though it generates this stuff in there, we don't really see it because they're hidden, right? So what we would want to do is that we kind of want to remove this class when somebody clicks on the calculate so that this styling does not apply to this section, right? And we can do that in our index.js in our JavaScript file, right? So let's go here. We are getting hold of a bunch of different elements. Let's add another element. You can call it result section. And so let's see, what is the name of this section? Yes, it's result section. Let's just get this, drop it in here. So we get hold of this section, and then what we can do is we can go to, well, whenever somebody clicks on this function runs, right? So either at the beginning of it or at the end of it, doesn't really matter. We can go and do this. We can say this is the section, and we can say class list. So this is going to give us like a list of all the classes that are applied to it, because you can apply multiple classes to it. And then we can say remove and give it the hidden. There we go. So refresh the page, run calculate, and now we get these stuff. Right, so all of this is being shown now. Now what we want to do to make this even more interesting is perhaps remove the stuff that we have like at the top so that we only see the result, and then we can update like the back button that when we click on it, it goes back and shows this stuff. So let's go back to our index.html. Notice again that we've got like a prompt section, so we can get this. Let's come over here. It's called prompt section, right? Prompt. So we can say, go ahead and class list add hidden. Right, so now refresh this, click on it, and now it hides the top part and it just shows the bottom part. Okay, cool. Now let's do something about this back button. So we want to do like the opposite of what just happened. Let's create another function. We can call it go back. And we can do basically the opposite of these two. We want to remove it from this one and add it to the other one. And then I need to get hold of this button. So we got to see what is the name, what is the ID of this button. Let's call it refresh button. Okay, let's go back to our index. This is where we get hold of our button. Let's say refresh. Here is refresh. And we can go and say refresh on click and give it this go back function. All right, refresh the page, click on calculate, click on the back button. Oh, sorry, I gave it to refresh. That doesn't make sense. I should have given it to the back button, right? Yeah, return button. Actually, we can work with the refresh too. So I don't need to remove this. I can just say return button. All right, return button. And so let's go and use return button for this. Refresh the page, calculate, return, calculate, return. Good. What we want to do with the refresh button is that we want the refresh button to work the same as the calculate. It's supposed to, like, let's say you click on this, you're looking at this, right? And then like 5 minutes later, 20 minutes later, you can either click back and click on a calculate again, or you just click on refresh. So I already have the refresh button. I can just say refresh on click. Do the same thing as calculate WakeUp Times. So when you click on this, it basically does the same thing here. Well, refresh this, calculate, back, calculate, and then you gotta let it like sit for a few minutes and then click on a refresh, and it would just update this value. I'm just gonna continue speaking, take this opportunity to see if I can clean up the code anywhere. This is all pretty decent. Well, by the way, we are using these elements inside our code, and it appears as if I'm like using them before I declare them, but this works because of hoisting, which is this idea that the variables that are declared will be sort of as if they get moved up to the top of their scope, which these variables are all scoped in this file. And so the way JavaScript behaves, it's not literally exactly this, but it's a good way of thinking about it, is that as if these are moved to the top when JavaScript goes about like running this file for you. And so somebody might argue that it's probably a better practice to just move them right at the top. So like get hold of all the elements, define your function, add those functions to the like uncalled event listeners. So let's come here and click on this refresh. And yeah, so you can see like this was 26, it changed to 28. So it does the same thing as the calculate button basically. All right, so this is good progress for us. We're gonna be cleaning the app a little bit more, making it more presentable in the next video.